government ever going to be held accountable for anything? I mean, think about it. Every time there's a crisis, it seems like government gets a free pass, and your civil liberties are always infringed upon afterwards. The conversation almost immediately turns to what they can do, government, to switch the conversation to you rather than to focus the conversation where it should be on them. Why am I talking about this? Why is it coming up today? Folks, unsurprisingly, the conversation has turned to now banning assault weapons and putting additional obstacles in front of your right to self-protection and your right to carry, when the conversation should be focused on the failures at multiple levels to detect this maniac, Nikolas Cruz. And, you know, listen, the signs were everywhere, folks. They blew it. Now, I've got for you today a couple of disturbing pieces of audio, and I want you to listen to them, though. I think it's important that this is out there. The first piece of audio is going to be a call Cruz himself, yes, I said that right, Cruz himself made to 911. And shockingly, almost nothing was done about this. The signs were everywhere. The signs were missed. And yet still we have a Broward County sheriff who's turned his attention to whatever it may be, the NRA, everything else but himself. Listen to this 911 call, again, from Nikolas Cruz himself, and tell me this doesn't set off bells and whistles in your head.
I got mad and I started punching walls and stuff, and then a kid came at me and threw me on the ground. And he started attacking me, and he kicked me out of the house, and he said he was going to gut me.
Folks, this is a troubled young man, a deeply troubled young man. We've now been notified about upwards of 45 calls to the house, calls for that involved in some way, shape, or form police and law enforcement involvement with Nikolas Cruz. Listen, I don't want to get lost in the number. I don't, because what happens is this is how the argument gets silent. Whether it was 45 calls, or whether it was 4.5 calls, or 5 calls. Clearly, there were warning signs there that this was a troubled young man. Warning signs were missed, and we should all be looking right now at what happened. But instead, we're focused on these tangential conversations because nobody in the government wants to hold themselves accountable. Neither you nor I live by these rules. I've got another one, but I've got more on this government accountability thing because this really has me pissed off today. This is another call by a caretaker for Cruz to 911 that they made. Again, listen to it and tell me how bells and whistles aren't going off in your head. Play that sound.
911 emergency, how can I help you?
Yeah, there was a fight in my house with a kid and my son.
Okay,
I'm punching him, and now he left the house, but I need somebody here because I'm afraid he comes back and he has a lot of weapons.
Okay, and who did this?
Nikolas Cruz. He was just somebody I took in because his mother just passed away, and he's going to get his weapon. He's not allowed to bring it here, and we found that he did. He put the gun in the head of his brother before, so it's not the first time, and he did that to his mom.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what I heard? I mean, how did this fall through the cracks? And yet you had the Broward sheriff, who's still in his job, by the way, failed atrociously, failed miserably. And he's out there blaming everybody else. He went on this CNN show, walked in where Dana Lash walked into the Lion's Den, managed to blame everybody but himself, and he's been quoted on other media interviews talking about his amazing leadership. You know, folks, this is serious. There are wolves among us.